So this is Joe Leigh here for Seconds Out with Dominic Ingle, world-renowned boxing trainer and now musician.
I've been a musician for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Before I was a boxing trainer, so it's always been there. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the reason you're here is for Willy Hutchinson. Incredible prospect. I think you could call him more than that now. Going into his 12th fight on Saturday night. What are you thinking ahead of that fight?
Yeah, he's boxing a tough kid, Ben Thomas. Obviously a last-minute replacement. The kid looks like he's obviously been in the gym. I know Kieran Farrell keeps his kids fit and strong. So yeah, Luke Blackledge pulled out with the with the medical problem. So we've got this kid, and we're not looking past him. He's tall. He's got a 50-50 record. He's won, he's lost, he's drawn, and when he turns up, he can be a problem. So fight number 12 with me. Willie's brought his weight down for this one. We're working towards super middleweight, and he weighed in 12.5. He's well within striking distance of making the super middleweight limit. I think he'll do that for the next fight. So yeah, he's on his way, and it's just a case of putting the fights in front of him now and him winning.
And when did Willie find out about his opponent? Because I spoke to him yesterday down at the media room, and this was about 5, maybe 6 p.m, and he didn't even know he was fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was fighting, but he's not particularly concerned with his fighting. He's just concerned about making his weight, resting, relaxing. He's not one of these who's asking if he took all my fighting. I said it'll be sorted out, don't worry about it. Yeah. And I don't want him looking at videos and watching stuff, so he's just relaxed and just concentrating more on making his weight than who he's fighting.
And for the people who don't know, how long's Willie been at the gym for? Because obviously he was first Scottish amateur world champion, and he would have had a lot of opportunities. But what do you think stood out about the Ingle gym that made him want to come there?
He's been here over 3 years now. He came, I think, about 2017, around about April time. I went to watch him. I was invited to watch him at a show down in London at Bethnal Green. Yeah. And spoke to his manager Shelley Finkel, who manages Deontay Wilder. Yeah. And it's I don't exactly know how it came about. I think he'd been past a few names, and I think it might have been his granddad who was big into boxing who suggested me. And he came down, did a session, and we bonded and gelled, and the rest is history. So he's gonna be the next prospect. He's only just 22. He's young, he's in good shape, he's dedicated, and you can just see over the last 6 to 8 months he's just matured a lot. And it'd be great to see him out on Saturday. We've had this lockdown. He's eager to get going and to get moving. He's only young. He's got plenty of ambition. Yeah. So hopefully he shines on Saturday and we can move him fast and get a couple more fights in before Christmas. Yeah, and I saw in an interview a couple of months ago you mentioned he's probably going to be your last sort of 10-year plan, if you like. Yeah, I mean it's a long job with these kids. I mean I look back over when my father was training kids, and I think he had his first world champion when he was 55. I think Naz was world champion when he was 55. And like I've been doing this from 27 years old, and I've been in lots of world title fights, and it's a privilege to be in that position. And these good kids take a long time. They're 10-year projects, and you've only got so many 10 years in you. I'm 53 next, and I don't want to be training kids for the next 20 years because it's an hard job the way I train people. Willie's more or less been living at my house. I've been doing his diet. He's coming down from a different weight class now to a different weight class, and it's got to be precision. You can't make mistakes, and you've got to, even at this low level or where he's at in his first 10 or 12 fights, everything's got to be meticulous. The plan's got to be in place for future big fights. And he's stuck to the plan. He's made the weight really well, and he's happy, and he's rehydrating up. And that's the thing now. He's on his way, and his next fight they're talking about a title fight, and that's where we need to get him moving. He's sparred Lerone Richards and Shakan Peters, and he's had good spars with them guys. So you get a level of where he's at. So he's going to be an exciting prospect, but I'm not one for rushing these guys. They need to learn the trade first. They need to be experienced and get the experience in the gym and in the fights for when they step up. And and he should achieve this kid. He should end up world champion, but not next year, not in the next 2 years. He's got to have a steady building process. Yeah,
and obviously moving on to last weekend's heavyweight fight with Dillian Whyte. There's obviously a few tweets flying around, and Dillian sort of responded. He seemed a bit frustrated with what you said. Tell us about what your thought process was when you tweeted that.
Listen, a tweet's a tweet. I don't really want to go into it too much, but I mean, I speak to Dillian and message him over the last couple of years. I don't know, but the thing is, it can always be misconstrued on social media.
Definitely.
And that's the thing about it. And you know, you put a tweet out there and then you have to justify your tweet. It's not really my thing. You know, Dillian Whyte, it's like I've said before, you know, he's had a lot of setbacks in his career. He's, you know, he had a ban early on in his career, got through that, you know, got beat by AJ, got through that, then got another bit of a thing with his drug test, which they cleared up, and rightly so. And then he's obviously had this one, and they're the type of fighters that are the setbacks. You know, they keep coming and they keep coming. I just hope he's got the patience to, you know, to keep at it, because he will get there eventually. Not everybody can be an unbeaten fighter winning to a world title fight. So I don't pay too much attention to what's going on social media. Too many people, too many experts making their comments and their opinions. At the end of the day, anybody can get caught with a shot like that. You can, you know, it's happened so many times. Julian Jackson against Errol Graham. Look at that. You know,
yeah.
When I was a kid, Errol Graham was my hero of a fighter, and he got Julian Jackson beat, and the shot came out of nowhere. So we've all been in that position, you know, not just with Errol Graham, with other fighters. So it can happen in boxing, but you get so many of them people coming out on social media, you know, what you should have done this, you should have had this training, you shouldn't have done this. Well, nobody can say, because it happens in a split second. You know, so I'm sure he'll regroup and come back. You know, he's a fighter at the end of the day. You've got to give him full credit for that. But there's always going to be people sniping and laughing and jeering. It's what they do, the keyboard warriors. I get it, and I'm not anybody. So, you know, when you're up there and you're a top fighter or a top promoter, you've just got to be able to shrug it off. You know, everybody likes to have their opinion and they say so. Let them say it. You know, it's not really an issue to me.
And what do you make about the proposed fight Frank Warren made between Dillian and Dubois? It's a strange fight to be made, but what do you make about the whole proposition as a whole, like the whole 11 fights? Do you think it's possible?
Look, I don't ever think it's ever going to work across. You know, if Eddie Hearn's in a very, very strong position with what he's got, and he doesn't really need Frank Warren. Maybe Frank Warren needs to do something with Eddie Hearn, but you know, it's these. I can remember when Lennox Lewis boxed Mike Tyson, and one was on Showtime. I think one was on HBO, or whatever. They had to split it all up to make the fight. I don't think it's ever going to be, you know, a partnership, or you know, it's ever going to work out. That I don't think anybody's going to match the fights up with each other. If it comes to that point where they become managers for each other or whatever, but I don't think just for the sake of making a fight. You know, Dillian Whyte's in a different place to Dubois. You know, he's still got this rematch with Povetkin. Hopefully he can win, and then we'll see where we are. But at the minute it looks like Eddie's holding all the aces, and Frank's trying to get in on the action, which you can't blame him. But you have to ask yourself the question: if the shoe was on the other foot, you know, and Frank was at the top of the game, everybody would he be wanting to invite Eddie into to do that kind of thing? So maybe he just gets people talking. Maybe some fights will come out of it. I don't think so, because it just seems that promoters like to protect their own fighters. They don't want to give anybody a chance, you know, of you know, stealing the prizes. So I don't really look at these battles backwards and forwards on Twitter between people. I think it's a bit silly, really.
Yeah.
You make your comment and leave it and put it out there for people to listen to and to speculate about. But people keep saying to me, you know, Frank and Dillian are having it out on Twitter.
Yeah,
Backwards and forwards and getting personal with stuff. It's just a bit silly, really, schoolboy stuff, isn't it? So, you know, there's more to life than, you know, trying to prove each other wrong or right. It's just a bit silly.
Yeah. And talk to me about AJ versus Fury. Obviously, it's still a way away from happening. Do you think Deontay Wilder Fury going to happen at the end of this year? Because there's still a lot in place before that AJ versus Fury fight needs to happen.
Well, you know what? I don't train heavyweights, so. You know, Tyson's came to the gym a couple of months back, did a couple of workouts. He's been back and forth to the gym over the years. He has a move around. You know, he's in a great position. He came back from a bad place a few years back. He's the champion of the world, and rightly so. He put in a great performance, and I just can't really see anybody beating him. And I saw a video of him laying on his bike with his top off, laughing and having a dig at Eddie Hearn. You know, he's the king of the world, isn't he? He's got the money. He's the world champion. He's laughing all the way to the bank. So I don't think he's in a rush for anything to happen and whatever. You know, the way he destroyed Deontay Wilder, he'd have that rematch all day long. He's not going to beat Tyson Fury. You know, let's not forget when Tyson challenged him the first time. Tyson was coming off two or three fights, weren't particularly good, overweight, come through bad things, bad places in his mind, and Deontay was the king of the world, so he was in the best place. Tyson wasn't in a great place, and he gave him a draw. Well, when Tyson got himself back on track, he just totally demolished Deontay Wilder, and you know, mentally when you've done that to a fight, I just can't see how, you know, Deontay Wilder's ever going to come back from that, because Tyson Fury's got his number, you know, and that's it. So I don't pay too much attention to the politics, because I've been in boxing a long time and things never happen when they're supposed to happen. You know, I'm a trainer at the end of the day. I have to look out for what my fighters are doing and keep an eye on what they're doing and keep focused on that. I don't tend to look at that kind of stuff.